Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be... Wait a minute, why am I talking like that? Yeah, like I was saying, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Nobara Linux. Now, while I really like Linux Mint, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Nobara, like how it's really good for gamers and content creators, and my curiosity's got the better of me, and I've downloaded it and installed it, and over the past couple of days or so I've been playing with it, seeing what I can and cannot do with it, and I'm happy to say that everything I can do on Linux Mint, I can also do on Nobara and then some. There are some things I can get on Linux Mint that I cannot get on Nobara. However, I've found alternatives that are just as good or maybe even better. But before we get into that, no, don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those sponsor sections. I respect my viewers. I don't interrupt the flow of the video to waffle on about some popular product that I've just fallen in love with. No. I just want to give a quick mention to alternatives to MS Paint and Paint.net. So, although Paint.net isn't available on Linux, I can get Pinter, which is almost an exact clone. I think it's made by the same people. The workflow is almost an exact match. Now, I've tried others such as GIMP and Critter, and none of them even come close to the ease of use and similarity that Pinter has to Paint.net. And speaking of clones, I also have JS Paint. It's pretty much an exact clone of the original MS Paint that came with Windows 95, and Windows 98, and Windows ME, and Windows 2000, and Windows XP. Don't know about Vista though. I never used Vista. Unlike Pinter, it's not available in the software center, but there's an online browser-based version, and a downloadable version, which is what I use. And lastly, there's Color Paint, which is kind of the same thing. So one thing I'm a big fan of, other than Poppy Playtime obviously, is I'm a really big fan of retro games, and here on Linux Mint I installed RetroPie when I can find it, of course. Now, though this was developed for the Raspberry Pi, it can be installed on just about any Debian-based system, so if we go into there you can see it's loading up. I've got a nicely curated menu of games, so let's say I want to play some Nintendo games. I'll just go in there, pick a game I want to play. And there it is. I'm not going to bore you with all the gameplay, so I'm going to leave it here. Another thing I've noticed with Nobara is games generally run smoother than they do on Mint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a few games on Mint and then play those same games on Nobara. First of all, we'll do Sega and All-Stars Racing Transform, whatever it is. Yeah, can we just get to play this game? Now, this game didn't work at first. I had to change the version of Proton it was using, and now it works fine. Oh, and this is another thing that I cannot stand about Linux. Having to go through this processing Vulkan shaders every time I start a game. Okay, it doesn't happen every time, but it often does happen. This can take forever sometimes. I'm going to take a drink while this is doing its thing. Ah. 10,000 years later. Come on, hurry up, I don't have much battery left in this camera. You're gonna see this sped up when I edit the video. I mean, I can understand it doing this with Windows games, but Linux games too? Which you're gonna see in a minute after this. So we're finally in. So we're just gonna let this load and we're gonna do one race and have a look at the frame rate, which currently is 60. Cannot really see that on the camera, but I can. Yeah, we'll skip all that and that. Okay, we'll go to custom game. Not sure what's going on here. Okay, career. Right, we'll just go to single race. Ocean view, yeah, we'll go there. Well, we don't want easy, because that's for babies. Well, gotta be Tails. And the Genesis mode. Oh, come on, give me something great. Give me something great. So currently we're at about 150 frames a second. Oh yeah, the frame rate right now is about 54 frames a second, which isn't terrible, but it could be better. Now it's dropped down to about 43, now it's up at 60. It's all over the place. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, see what the lowest frame rate we get is, then compare that with Nobara. 6th place, come on, we can do better than this. Call it Blaze. Now that's more like it. Should still really keep my eyes on the road. Come on, don't crush me. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Tails. Who's gone All-Star? Grace has gone All-Star? I don't know. That's what you get for tailgating me. Get it? tailgating me because playing Tails? Yeah, you get it. I don't think I finished first. No, I finished fourth. Never mind, Tails. You'll still be first in my heart. So that was Sega and All-Stars Sonic Racing Transform, whatever the hell it was called. And I'd say, on average, we got a frame rate of about 52. And the lowest frame rate I saw was around 43. So now we're going to play a Linux game. I'm going to play Portal 2, when I can find it. There it is. Portal 2, and make sure my camera is recording at 60 frames a second. Now, this is something I was talking about earlier, that even when loading Linux games, it still does this Vulkan shaders thing. At least we don't have to wait so long this time. Now, on Mint, I get this weird screen tearing issue where, like, the top of the screen's going at 30 and the bottom of the screen's going at 60, or it might be the other way around. Either way, it looks bad. So I'm going to play one of my favorite levels, have a look at the frame rate and see what we get. Okay, we're going to the community test chambers. Oh, come on, do we really have to wait for this to load? Yes, I've got a lot of in here. I've got quite a lot. Yeah, I've got quite a lot in here. So, we'll go to this one. So we are getting 60 frames a second. But, like, if I turn around, you might be able to see the screen tearing. I don't get that on Nobara. It works much better than it does here. You can see it here. Like, it's still saying we're at 60 frames a second, but I can see with my own eye that part of the screen's going at a lower frame rate than the other part. Yeah, you might be able to see it there. See that screen tearing on that window there? Strange thing is, it is reporting a consistent 60 frames per second. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all this gameplay, so I'll be back. Okay, now we're going to do another one of my favourites. I don't think this needs an introduction. And although chapters 1, 3 and 4 run really nice and smooth, chapter 2 for some reason has dips in the frame rate, but only chapter 2 though. The others run fine, which is kind of strange. This is one where I had to install a custom version of Proton to make it work. We'll just go to play, we'll go to load game. I don't even know what the last checkpoint was on this. Load the last checkpoint. Hopefully we're in the game station, but I couldn't say for certain. Okay, yeah, we're right about to go into the game station. And you know what? I forgot that this doesn't support gamepad, so, let's see if I can load up my anti-micro here. No, okay, this is gonna cause problems, because the mouse is still, the game's still responding to the mouse when I'm trying to get the menu to come up. Alright, see, can we get to the mouse? No. Okay, well, I'll just have to try and play this on the keyboard and the mouse, because I cannot load up my anti-micro at the moment. Thing is, I'm used to playing with a controller, so I'm probably gonna do quite badly here. Now, at the moment, it looks nice and smooth. We're getting a 60 frames per second. Like any self-respecting games console should. We're getting to the game station, and lights come on. We're about 45 frames a second now, so about 45 was the lowest we saw. Yeah, actually, let's stand in that thing and just see what the frame rate goes to. Come on, hurry up. This is science! So yeah, standing in this part, we're getting about 45 frames a second. So keep that in mind. So I'll shut Mint down. So now we're gonna go and boot into my Nobara. Now I kind of effed up when I installed Nobara. Somehow the Linux Mint bootloader is still there, and somehow the Windows bootloader is still there, even though Windows itself isn't. But Nobara does work, so I don't know why those old bootloaders are still there, but the only thing I'm not liking about Nobara is it takes a bit longer to boot. But that's a small price to pay, considering all the things I can do with it. So you can see I've even done some little customizations here. I've got the weather in there. Let's see, my folders look nice and good. Yeah, but we'll get into that in just a moment. So, we're gonna go into my Steam again, and I want to make sure that the game overlay is still enabled. Right, okay, so I've got that all set up. So, let's do Portal 2, just to show you how much better it works on Nobara, and I'll play the same level as I did last time. Yeah, you can stuff your updates. I am heavy weapons guy. And this is my valve. Alright, I'll just go to the community test chambers because we don't want to play the normal boring campaign, do we? No. Alright, okay. Swap the cubes. Okay, see if I can find it. Doesn't seem to be here. What? Excuse me. Ah, there it is. There's the level I was playing last time. So we're just going to ignore the frame rate because on Mint we could see it was 60 frames a second even though it had all this weird screen tearing and everything. But look how much smoother it is on Nobara. It's probably not showing too much on the camera, but this is nice and smooth. There's no frame, no screen tearing. Not that I can see anyway. Yeah, so this is where we were last time. And yeah, just look at that. Smooth as butter and no screen tearing. Okay, so I think you could see that that was a lot smoother. Now we're gonna play Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, whatever it is. And of course, it's got an update. Whereas you just saw a few minutes earlier, this update must just this minute have come down the pipe. And of course, we've got to wait for this. But at least it's going a lot faster than it did on Mint. Bet you're glad I'm fast forwarding all this so you don't have to wait. 50,000 years later. Come on, I've only got a finite amount of energy in my battery and a finite amount of memory in my camera. Could you possibly speed it up, like, at all? If that's not too much to ask. Yeah, this is one thing I miss about Windows. That I don't have to sit through this every time I want to play a game. Well, every time I want to play a game on Steam, I'm waiting. Yeah, dude, this is like totally not happening, man. Come on, hurry up. I gotta say instead of because I'm British. I might as well say instead of I don't know why. I mean, yeah, if you're Scottish, you can say that. It's part of the accent. But the British accent is supposed to say not ooh. Oh, we're finally in. Let's see what frame rate we get this time. So if you remember, it was like about 43, I think, last time. Let's see what we get this time. I think it might be slightly higher. Just gonna go with the same things I did last time. I'm gonna choose my B class. Tails, Genesis mod. Come on, give me something great. Will you ever give me something great? Okay, here we go. I can already see this is a little bit smoother. Maybe not perfectly smooth. I guess it is nice. I'm determined to get first this time. I should be going all-star. I got a glove. Cool, now my hands won't get cold. Out of my way. Come on, Tails, we can do this. Because I want to win this race, that's why I attacked you. Blowfish is useless. I don't believe this fourth again? Well, let's say the frame rates on that were about the same, although it did feel smoother to me. Anyway, we just got one more game to test. I think you know which one that is. Although we definitely saw an improvements with Portal 2. Alright, let's go to Chapter 2 again. And I'm going to stand in that bit in the game station, make a note of the frame rate, and that'll be that. Oh, we're not in the game station. We're in the vault of the forgotten toys. I'll say this, though. This part of the game is a little bit laggy on Mint, but here on Nobara, I'm getting a nice 60 frames a second, like, consistently. Well, standing here in the game station, we're getting about the same frame rates. But, on that bit I showed you earlier, I was getting a consistent 60 frames a second, whereas on Mint I get about maybe half of that. I'm not going to go through the trouble of reloading on Mint just so you can see that. You'll just have to take my word for it. Might just be the limit of my GPU, because unlike everybody else on YouTube who can somehow afford the latest and greatest of everything, I cannot. I'm a normal person. Anyway, so, what I found to replace Raspberry Pi, when I can find it, is RetroDeck. And although it's designed for the Steam Deck, it also runs on here. And I've loaded a whole bunch of games on here. So I can play old computer games, I can play old console games. Let's say I want to play some Game Boy games. I can go into there, come on, go into Game Boy. And, what shall I play? I don't even know if you can show Nintendo stuff on YouTube lately. I know. Dr. Mario. Haven't done any of the scraping yet, because this is only a temporary install. But you can see Dr. Mario on the Game Boy, on RetroDeck. Is it even legal to show this music? They might think it's Lady Madonna. Okay, that was stupid of me. Anyway, I'm not going to show you all of that. I can even play ZX Spectrum games on this. Although the keys are a little bit messed up. But yes, this is where it all started, everyone. I'll get to stage 2 now. Bomberman on the ZX Spectrum. Yep, this is where Hudson Soft got their start. It wasn't in Japan, it was on the Spectrum. I may have to fact check that. Come on, get blasted. What? 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 Ah! And here's another nice surprise it had in store for me. I can run exe files without even having to go into Wine, because it loads that up automatically. So, let's say I want to play the I Got Some Balls remake. I can just double click on it. I'll have to censor that bit out. But there we go. Is camera recording? Yes, it is recording. Come on, get through that triangle. Just because I'm recording, that's why I'm playing so bad. My brain pretty much shuts off as soon as the camera starts. Oh, come on, you could get up that. They changed the world, not the shirt. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. What? Well, you get the idea. And here's another nice surprise. And that is that I can run certain console games straight from the desktop. Now, I don't know if this was a result of installing RetroDeck or if it can just do this right out the box, but let's say I want to play Earthworm Jim on the Sega Mega Drive. I can just double-click the game. Alright, we'll select Sega Genesis. Check that out. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all this gameplay, so yeah. And I suck at this game. Hey, yo! Now, I'm going to show you one last surprise. I can play The Simpsons Hit and Run on this. And I haven't got my gamepad set up on this, but check that out! Homer, get to work! Lol, I don't care I'm getting in the wrong side. Hey, get it out of my way! I'm driving here. Now who's slow? I'll gobble your muckers! Steamed hams. I think this is a good reason for never getting into a car with me. Not that I actually drive. Oh, my ass! What kind of idiot barks like that? Is there more? Homer's workstation's disappeared. Let me get in.
How can I sleep with that camera? Could be watching me on the internet.
I'd like to watch sexy girls on the internet. Oh yeah, we got another mission.
Finally, I can get some sleep.
Mindless drones, return to your ugly families.
No!
Mindless drones. Yes. Mindless drones. Return to your ugly families. But my Linux is working perfectly. Excellent. Do you want to exit to Windows? No, I don't want to exit to Windows. I want to exit to Linux. So far it's looking really good for Nobara. It's checked all the boxes, especially when it comes to gaming. You saw it yourself. I really did not expect The Simpsons Hit and Run to work because no matter what I tried, I could not get it working on Mint. Here on Nobara, no problem. There were still some games I couldn't play on it, which I also couldn't play on Mint. Some of those games won't even work on Windows 10. But like I said, compared to Mint, when it comes to gaming, this holds all the cards, especially when it comes to retro gaming. Anyway, I'm gonna end this part of the video now, so yeah, I'll be back with more of this later. So until next time, goodbye.